emotional, exciting, adventure, epic world. Welcome to Lost All Caps.
What's that?
Those are... Lost was finally recommended to me on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And those are its genre markers
Oh, amazing.
that they've given it.
I agree with that, I think.
Emotional, exciting, adventure, epic world.
Yeah.
Epic world is the rogue one, I think.
Do you not think it's an epic world?
I mean, sure, but it's like... the world is not really that different to... Like, an epic world, to me, would be like...
The Witcher or something.
The cinematic universe of Dune, or Star Wars or something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair, but also, like, the island is a pretty fantastical world.
Yeah. But is it epic?
Yes. Would you not call polar bears epic?
I would never really use the word epic.
Well, no, I mean...
To me, it's been, like, coloured with a sort of, like, 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, it was, like, something that was popular to say when I was 10.
Yeah.
You know? I think it means more like an epic, right? Like, you know, like...
Like Homer's Iliad.
Yeah. Or like...
Did Homer write the Iliad? Oh, I immediately doubted myself.
I don't know, and you're the English...
Odyssey.
You're the one with the English degree.
I know! We read part of the Iliad as well. Should know that.
Yes.
Boom! Look at
Homer.
that.
Yes, it is Homer. Yeah,
I
or like
knew that.
Beowulf or something, like that's an epic.
Yeah. It's weird how, like, epic can be used to describe that, but then also can be used to describe, like, a sticky alien toy or something.
Yeah, it is quite funny. I'd say this episode, if I had to choose one word to describe this episode, I would say sad.
Well, out of the four...
Out of the four.
Emotional.
Emotional, yeah.
Emotional. Definitely.
Very emotional.
A very emotional episode you're here for us today, gang. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Velvet.
And today we're going to be talking about episode 14 of series 1, Special. It's a lovely episode, isn't it?
It is. It's a sweet episode, but it's
so sad. It's so sad. But it's a good one. We've, you know, we should say I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening right now, because that means you successfully made it through Hearts and Minds with us. Let's take a moment to just, you know, join together in prayer and just appreciate.
Just hold some gratitude.
Let's just hold hands, Velvet, and we're gonna just take a moment and really feel the fact that we made it through that adversity, that struggle.
We got to Hearts and Minds. I genuinely, when we started this, I remember going, we're gonna have to do Hearts and Minds, and being like, I don't want to do it.
It was kind of like that we're gonna have to kill this guy meme.
Man, yeah.
Man, we're gonna have to talk about Hearts and Minds. Damn.
Yeah.
But we made it through. Hey, we made it
did
through. We've survived. We're on the other side. I think this episode is going to be a crazy one because I'm also like way more hydrated today than I usually ever am. I think it's because I've got a bit of a cold at the minute. So when I woke up this morning, my mouth was really dry. I must have been like breathing through my mouth in my sleep.
Yeah.
So my first thought when I woke up was I really need a glass of water. Never had that thought in my life before.
Do you feel like you've had like your 2 litres of water for the day and you're like unlocking your brain's true potential?
Exactly. That's where we're at the minute.
Are you going to use that hydration to cry about
Yes.
Walt Michael?
My body is a machine that turns the correct amount of water a human being needs into tears.
Into tears over that fictional man.
Mm.
It just makes me so sad, this episode. Because it's just like, Michael wanted to be a dad so badly.
Yeah.
And he's just been turned into this villain in Walt's life.
Yeah.
And that's just like so completely the opposite of what he wanted.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't know what to do. And it's like, oh my god.
They really manipulate your heartstrings in this one because from Walt's perspective, it's such like it's a story that's been told a million times, you know, like an absent father who's just had no contact with his child until he, you know, something tragic happens and then suddenly it's like, you're coming to live with me. And it's like, you know, he like does so much to protect Brian as well. This is what I'm like, that final speech where he's like, you know, it's not Brian's decision, it's mine.
It's like he turns himself into the villain to save Walt from having to lose Brian as well.
Yes! Oh my god! What like a selfless act. That's so lovely.
I know,
but then
and
it's
now
like
Walt hates him.
But then also it's like the consequence he didn't foresee was that they're now stuck on this island. Brian's of course not in the picture. He never was gonna be.
Yeah.
But, you know, Michael could have made some excuse for him or something and they could have bonded in their own way. But now they're being, you know, Walt's been through all this trauma. Michael's also been through the trauma of the plane crash, but it's like they're now having to deal with that.
Yeah. And like Walt doesn't like Michael because Michael's taken him away from Brian. Which is like...
But Brian wanted nothing to do with him. Brian's such a dickhead, honestly.
But it's like Michael didn't want Walt to know that Brian didn't want him.
Of course!
It's so sad! Fuck Brian.
Honestly. Fuck Brian. Fuck Susan.
Fuck Brian, fuck Susan.
Oh my god. Literally fuck Susan. She's the worst.
I remember, I'm going to find the messages to get the exact phrase. So our housemate started watching Lost because of us. And I had actually a great moment where they were in the room next door to me and I could hear, I think it was All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues playing. And I texted them and I was like, I know exactly what scene you're watching right now.
That was so creepy.
Because I was like, I can hear it and I know where you are. And then I got this message. Like, this was like an hour or so after, because they were like binging it.
Of course.
It just says, Walt's mum is so manipulative. To which I said, fuck Susan, I hate her so much. And then I have, she's like, why are you holding on to him? Because it's not for him. When she's trying to take custody, she took his kid to another continent. What a bitch.
Literally. Yeah, she's such a hypocrite. I never even thought about that. Where she's like, you know, are you only doing this for him or for you? Think about what's best for Walt. She wasn't thinking about what was best for Walt, was she?
Did you not think that what's best for Walt is for him to be with his dad who loves him?
Yeah. And of course she loves him, right?
Yeah, of course she loves him too, but like that doesn't, just because she loves him doesn't mean that Michael has no right to his own son.
Yeah.
Saying like, we're not married and I have a job.
Oh my god.
Just because they're not married doesn't mean he's not still Walt's father.
Oh, and also, I thought you were really against marriage and then suddenly you marry this random guy.
Yeah! After like 3 months as well. I didn't realise the time frame was so short.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what? When Michael gets hit by the car, which by the way, crazy thing. It's like, the being hit by a car is like such a non-part of the backstory, which is so funny. Because it's like, he got hit by a car.
Yeah.
And like, and then it's like 2 months or something like that. Because Walt is like 20, they say he's like 21 months old and then he's going to be 2. And she's getting married to him already and he's adopting Walt.
I actually can't. There are so many legitimate, horrible villains in this show. I mean, like, look at like who we've been introduced to so far via flashbacks, like Jack's dad, for example. Really horrible guy, right?
Yeah.
And still the rage that I feel towards Susan
so strong
is unmatched. Like, I literally hate her.
It's so crazy. It's crazy. It's like, I swear, we did like a ranking once of like top 10 most hated characters and Susan was on there.
She was like number 5.
She was really high up the list. And she's like, only in this episode also. She never comes back.
No, she doesn't come back. I forgot about that.
Never see her again.
Oh, we just hate her so much from these
Was like Christian already been in like 3 episodes.
Oh my god, yeah.
And obviously I hate him. Admittedly, he was at number 3 on the list.
Yeah, he was higher than Susan, I think. I mean, like, Locke was quite evil in the last episode for, like, giving Boone that hallucinogenic drug that made him see his sister die. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was quite an evil thing to do.
That's quite evil, but it's evil in, like, a Lord of the Rings evil way. This is
it's
evil
in
like,
the epic world.
Yeah.
Not in the normal world.
This is horrible in a regular way. This is just a woman who has no connection to the magic of this island, who just decided that her partner didn't deserve to see his son.
Yeah.
Which is just a horrible thing.
And it's like, in that first flashback, they're so cute together.
Yeah.
They're this like little young couple, like so excited about having a baby.
Can we take a moment to appreciate Michael's hat?
Oh, his hat is awful. I was about to say the only downside is that damn hat.
It's a bad hat.
It's bad.
I wrote, make him look young.
Yeah, they like shaved his beard off and stuff, didn't they?
The goal of the hat.
Youth. Bad decisions in one's youth.
As we know, when you're young, you wear hats.
Yeah. I thought you would be into the hat, to be honest.
No, I'm not into that hat. I didn't think it was good. And I think the whole, like, Walt is named after Michael's dad, and then, like, Walt never even got to, like, know that was what he was named after.
I mean, I assume he's never met Michael's dad.
No.
Right? Because he's barely
he can't
met
have done,
Michael.
He doesn't even know Michael, really.
Yeah.
Maybe as a baby.
Yeah, but
that
like...
baby. If we're talking about cute flashbacks, can we talk about that baby?
That baby is so cute.
That is the cutest fucking baby I've ever seen.
And I don't usually find babies cute, but that baby, so cute.
Oh my god.
So cute. And then that scene is like so emotional. You're already emotional because you've just seen a cute baby. And then the first line is like, "You're not taking my son away from me." And it was like...
And I'm like, but he's just a tiny baby and he's so cute. I got taken out of that scene a little bit because I have my, the fake baby noises.
Oh yeah, you have that weird thing.
So this might not be something that really occurs to people, but it's really obvious when you say it, is like a lot of the baby noises that are used in TV, like when babies make sounds, are just pre-recorded noises. Because obviously it's difficult to get a baby to make the noises you want it to, like on demand. But the thing is, I had this DS game as a child, which, maybe you had too. It was called My Baby Girl, and then I had My Baby Girl 2. The toddler years.
Oh!
You had a subhead.
Tagline, the toddlering.
And it was basically, you had like this little, 4-pixel baby, and you had to like give it baths and like change its nappy and like make meals for it. And I was obsessed with this game as a little kid, but the baby noises that are used in the game are the same as the fake baby noises that are used in like all of TV ever. And because I played that game so much, it's like in my brain now. So I always notice when they use the fake baby sounds in TV. And there were a couple in that scene.
I see. It's like the Wilhelm scream, right?
The Wilhelm scream?
How do you not know about the Wilhelm scream?
What's the Wilhelm scream?
It's like a huge thing. It's like unironically used so much in movies and TV and stuff, but it's like a really staged scream. It's called the Wilhelm scream, or like Wilhelm scream, I don't know. But it's like, ah! Like it's really obviously fake.
Oh, right.
And you can find like compilations on YouTube of like every time it's been used.
Oh, I'll have to look it up.
It's really silly. I can't believe
really
you've not heard of it. It's really fun. I was used in our show, in our Pirates show. Because it's a joke. Yeah. Spruce Moose Comedy. Follow them on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, but I guess this is my Wilhelm scream.
This is your Wilhelm scream.
It's baby noises. It's always when the baby's face isn't visible on camera as well.
Of course.
Because the baby's not making the sound.
Of course. But that scene, I just feel so sorry for Michael, because it's like...
And also the thing is, like, Susan, girl, just listen to me for a second. You're like a big, lawyer, big shot lawyer in your job. You want to go take your big opportunities, work. You're going to be working a lot, right? You have your baby son, you love him, you want him to be happy. But presumably you're going to be working long hours. You'll need to get a nanny, as we saw. He has a nanny in Australia.
I have more to say on that.
Did it not occur to you that what you actually have, instead of having to hire a nanny, what you have is an unemployed father of your baby who loves him so much and wants to be with him all the time, who could just look after your baby. You don't have to be together, but he could be with the baby when you're working and can't be with the baby. And then you both get to have the baby.
The perfect house husband. She's got the perfect setup. It's like, it's all ready for her. She literally has a male wife, at her beck and call, and she just throws him away, kicks him to the curb. Fuck Susan. Oh my god.
For Brian, who didn't even like Walt.
He's such a dick. He's in like one scene. I hate that guy. The fact that Walt has a nanny on Australia is such a slap in the face. It is hot. It is so. Just, it's a tiny detail, but oh my god, does it make like Michael's experience way worse? Because it's like
she wasn't even with the kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's had to give up his paternal rights so that Brian can adopt this baby, and neither Brian nor Susan is even looking after him.
I know. And it's like, you know, we obviously can't blame both of them for having, you know,
Lawyer
careers,
jobs.
and we would never say you should give up your career for your child. But this is the thing, Michael's unemployed!
Michael didn't have a career!
He just wants to make his art and look after his baby! Come on!
Can you not have the perfect vision of, like, Michael, you know, he's got a paintbrush in one hand,
oh yeah,
baby on the other?
Oh yeah, perfect.
That's the perfect setup!
Why didn't he just move to Amsterdam?
That's what I would have done. I would have been like, hey, I've moved to Amsterdam for unrelated reasons. Can I have my son now?
Yeah, no, I, because was she already dating Brian? Was she already, like, seeing him?
Not when she went to Amsterdam.
Oh no, it's the phone call, isn't it, that's the reveal?
Because she said, like, because he says the one who hired you, and she's like, it wasn't like that. So it was like, I think it was after she moved to Amsterdam they got together, but I think they were together for longer, like, before Michael found out.
But do you think that's why she's like, we need to take a break, because she's sort of met Brian, maybe? And
maybe. I think she knows it's, like, over, but he doesn't. But I don't know if maybe Brian was a part of that.
I just can't believe it. The way he's like, you know, you want to go to counselling? I'm down for that. Let's go as well. Yeah. Like, that's so uncommon to see.
Who wants to go to therapy?
Go!
In like 1995 as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got a man who wants to go to therapy and he wants to look after his son. Do you know how rare that is?
Come on! He's not, like, Michael was born in the wrong generation. He's born to be...
Michael would have made a great millennial dad.
Yeah.
I love Michael.
Me too. And you just, you feel and, so much for him.
The fact that she didn't even give him the cards.
Oh my god.
That's just genuinely evil. Because, like, what harm would it do?
Yeah.
To give Walt. And you know why she didn't want to give him the cards? Because then Walt's gonna ask, where's my dad? Can I meet him? Can I see him?
Yeah.
Can I write him letters back? And she doesn't want that.
She doesn't want them to have a relationship. But why?
But why? No one knows. I
think probably because she gets married to Brian, and she seems to be against marriage in her youth, right? Doesn't it? Because Michael makes a joke, doesn't she? He's like,
that's why you won't marry me, so he can have your surname.
Yeah, he says like, oh, it's not because marriage is too prosaic or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so she clearly has, like, she's a bit against marriage in her youth. But then she marries Brian, and she wants Brian to have custody of Walt, and we find out later that's not what Brian wants.
Yeah.
So I think in her mind, she wants them to be the perfect little family, you know? And she wants to cut Michael out of the picture because that disrupts that image. But it was never going to be that, because that's not how Brian felt.
That's not how life works, first of all. But also, that's not what Brian wanted.
No, and also it's clearly Walt wasn't happy. And I know he was kind of just throwing in classic kid tantrum when he's like, you're not paying attention to me or whatever.
But also they're not paying attention to him. It's like, I think it's really interesting, that scene, actually, because it's like, all the flashbacks in this episode are like Michael flashbacks. And then we get one Walt flashback.
That's true, actually.
And it's this really interesting insight into, like, Walt's life. Because obviously you don't get much of Walt's, like, he's only 10. There's only so much we can get from him about his life. But it's like we get to see, in one scene, clearly we can see he felt like his parents didn't listen to him. And, you know, they're putting their job above being around him. And, like, even when, like, she's ill and Brian is saying, like, maybe you need to take a day off, and she's like, oh, I can't, I've got, you know, work to do.
She's overworked, yeah.
It's like, clearly she's focusing on her job, and she's kind of forgotten about him.
Yeah.
And it's like, clearly Walt is with Vincent as well, in all the flashbacks we see him with, it's like he's with the dog, but like, is that because he felt like his parents didn't listen to him? And I think it's like, it does a really good job of like, in one scene, we kind of get all of that.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about Walt's magic powers?
I was about to say we're going to do the magic powers.
We're going to do that now? We're going to do it later? Because that's probably... We were saying this is all very real world and not epic world. This is the most, like, exciting sort of new development in this episode.
So I forgot how crazy that is. Because to me, like, Walt's magic, that's just part of it, you know?
That's just part of his character.
And it's like, because it's like also watching it back, you notice moments where, like, it kind of comes into it. So, like, you know, in this episode, quite more obviously, the, like, knife thing. He says, picture it in your mind.
Yes.
And then he's like, it's crazy, I saw it, and then I made it happen.
Yes.
And that's a bit like, is that because he's good at throwing knives at 10? Or is it because of this, like, powers?
Yes. So, obviously, the powers are made very ambiguous. And so I think we, in this podcast, can chat about what we think.
Yeah. I know we have a couple of disagreements as well.
Yeah.
About what we think it involves. I think the knife thing.
The knife
thing, we can agree on that.
I mean, there's definitely some kind of, like, reality manipulation, would you say?
Yeah,
if you had to give it a name, because it's like, he sort of manipulates where the knife is going to go, but he gets the bird to crash into the window.
It's not like a telekinetic thing, I don't think.
No.
I think it's like more of an emotions thing, I think. Where, like, he can't, like, you know, he saw the knife, he was, like, focusing, but, like, with the bird, it's like he was angry and he was talking about the bird, and so his brain kind of combined those together, and then the bird crashed into the window.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. It's not like Matilda, is it? Where she can, like, make things float and stuff.
He's not, like, staring at the wall and making the chalk right on the board or whatever.
No. He's got this, like, kind of thing. But then, so those are our only two, like, super obvious.
Those are, like, the ones I would say most confirmed.
Yeah. But there's
others.
Others.
So, also, I need to address, actually, before we move on from the bird thing, we've mentioned before Ariel's spreadsheet on kills.
Oh, yeah.
Confirmed kills of each character. And on that spreadsheet, there was a bullet point that just said, Walt, 1 bird.
Yeah. Yep. Killed him with his mind.
And I was like, I just find it so funny that in, like, the confirmed kill spreadsheet we have a 10-year-old boy with psychic powers who killed a bird.
Yeah. So there's also the polar bear.
Yes, so I'm very convinced that the polar bear is part of the magic.
I think there's definitely, there are indications. I'm not sure, this is the thing. So, obviously, Michael burns Walt's comic book, and in the fire we see the image of the polar bear. And so I guess that leads me to believe his anger towards Michael is being kind of manifested in this angry polar bear. But then why would it attack him?
Because it was an angry polar bear. And so it just went for him. And also, I think, like, maybe it's a bit of a magic of the island combined with magic of Walt. Sorry, I just realised I would say that sentence. Combined with magic of Walt, wherein, like, in the same vein of, like, I gave you an experience that was whatever the fuck John said.
Don't you try and say wherein to make your point sound provable.
Wherein
I see through your lies.
It's like what Walt needed was to realise that he does love his dad. And, like, Michael, like, he's, like, willing to sacrifice himself to save Walt from the polar bear, and, like, he wants him to save him, and it's like he doesn't hate his dad, he doesn't want to run away from him, he doesn't want to never see him again. Like, that kind of, the polar bear attack sort of gives him that.
Yes. What Boone saw was nothing to do with the island.
But wasn't it, though?
No, it was to do with the hallucinogens
but
that John
what did he
gave
use to make the hallucinogenic paste? plants that grew on the island.
Oh, come on, that's a stretch.
John is in tune with the magic of the island. John is in tune with the magic of Walt, because he gives him the knife and he says, like, picture it in your mind. Yeah. He's, like, helping Walt to channel his, like, magic powers.
I mean, yes, and that is in character for John, isn't it? Like, kind of in a lot of the episodes, Boons is a much more hands-on / selfish for John's own personal gain way. But in
a side on John's selfish for his own personal gain.
In a lot of the episodes, John helps people by using the sort of
he uses like the mysticism of the island, and like with Charlie, it's like, give me the heroin, your guitar is fine, look.
Yes.
And that's a bit of a, like, John might have just seen the guitar, but also it fell out the plane, it didn't break. Yeah. Maybe the island was rewarding him.
But he also helps Jack, doesn't he?
Yeah.
When he's like running around after his ghost.
Stuff.
Yeah. This show is so weird. So yes, he's helping Walt to use his psychic powers. But I don't know how the polar bear attack correlates.
I think also it's not necessarily like, I don't think Walt wanted that bird to die. I think it's just that it's like he was angry and he was talking about the bird, and so that happened. Yeah. I think like he was really angry and he was thinking about the comic book and the polar bear in the comic book, and I don't know if he knew there were polar bears on the island or not, but like there's a polar bear and it got angry and it ran towards Walt because it kind of comes towards the magic, and then it attacked. I don't necessarily think it was like an intention.
Yeah, okay, that does make more sense, yeah. It's something like, because he doesn't manifest the bird, does he? Because it's a bird of Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, it already exists.
It exists, and maybe it's like a sort of bat signal going out from his brain, you know?
Where it's like, bird! And then the bird, like, heard it and then, like, shot towards Walt, and in trying to come towards Walt, it hit the screen door.
And then that's the same with the polar bear.
The polar bear just was drawn towards Walt.
Okay, I'm on board with that. The other question is, do you think Walt indirectly killed his mother?
Well, see, I was quite convinced of this truth when we first watched it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's when he's like, you're not paying attention to me, that she starts getting sick.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my god, is that what they're implying?
Like, that's pretty dark.
Kind of insane.
Yeah.
But I would argue, I'm not sure what I believe, but I would say Brian believes that Walt indirectly killed his mom.
Yes, I think so. Because there's no reason for Brian to be scared of Walt, right? Because he clearly is.
Yeah.
When he has that scene with Michael, he's like, Walt's different, and he doesn't like being around him, which is also, like, fucking, not only are you such a dickhead that you don't want to look after this, like, adorable child who is, you know, your wife's son, but also you have a child with magical powers and you don't give a shit about him. You don't want to nurture him and encourage his magical powers.
I know. Barreling towards a Carrie situation.
He's like the normal guy in the fantasy novel.
Yeah. And
that frustrates me more than anything. Because do you know what I would do if I found a child with magical powers?
Give him a knife.
Exactly!
Maybe I am like John. This is a moment where I agree with John.
No, of course I wouldn't give him a knife. But do you know how exciting that is?
And you're like, that's really exciting, let's try and channel it and see what you can do. More like Matilda.
Yeah. I just remembered, I think Dad told me that there's another Stephen King book, which is maybe a bit more similar to this scenario than Carrie, where, like, there's this little girl who can just set fires with her mind.
That's iconic.
Yeah. But, like, apparently the US government want to, like, weaponize her. I'm probably summarising this really badly from, like, a sentence that Dad said to me 3 years ago.
The US government want to weaponise her. It's the US government.
Yeah, but it's something like they want to use her in the military, but, like, her dad is just, like, she's, like, 12 years old. You can't use her as a weapon in the... Just leave her alone, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's called Firestarter. We can Google it.
Do you want me to Google it now?
No.
I don't know if I believe Walt.
Sorry, side note. Dad told me that he listened to the episode of the podcast where we bring up the stand, and he was like, you picked the weirdest, most like niche part to bring up.
Is the prison thing niche?
Apparently.
Because to me that's the whole book. I know that there's a weird old lady on a rocking chair. that someone's having like visions of this old lady in a rocking chair or something. There's a guy in a prison cell. And all the guards are dead.
Yeah, apparently that's like, we summarised it really badly and picked the most niche bit. So sorry everyone out there who actually has read Stephen King books. Here we are again, terribly summarising them on air.
I mean, I could summarise Carrie, that's the only one I've read.
The only one I've read is Salem's Lot, which is good, but got nothing to do with Lost because it's about
Carrie's
vampires.
Very good, but very little to do with Lost. A bit. But it's more about father issues than mother issues, so not so much. But yeah, but I think, I don't know if Walt indirectly killed his mother. I like to think he didn't.
Let's hope not.
But I do think, in episode, 5, Walt was using his powers to win backgammon.
Against Hurley.
Against Hurley.
Yes, absolutely. Because he also says, my dad says I'm the luckiest guy he ever knew.
Yeah.
So clearly he can,
win
manipulate
games.
The dice to win.
Yeah. He can,
No, absolutely.
Win stuff, I've got, an image of, taking Walt to, an arcade at a beach, and he wins, the big teddy bear.
A million teddies,
all the ones that are rigged that you can't win, he's, winning them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't know whether he indirectly killed Susan or not.
I feel like there's sort of there's a suggestion.
They leave it there, but then also she gets ill before Walt starts getting angry. Doesn't she? In that scene, but then it's how long has this been going on for? Do you know what I mean? But then, why would he kill his mom?
But also, it's she's supposedly had this blood disorder.
Yeah, which is probably a genetic.
If that's genetic, she was born before Walt was. Shocking. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not like he wanted his mum dead.
No, and even if he did, it was clearly just a child's sort of
he was
instinct.
Again, it was he was angry and he, reacted.
But I do think it's kind of fun that they throw that detail in there. They're to just try and make you.
It might have happened. So we've made it onto the island.
Yes. Shall we talk about what happens on island?
In reference to Walt and Michael, one bit I find really interesting in this episode is the scene. I think it's Michael and Son. When Walt's sleeping, and Michael says, this can't happen, he can't grow up here. And I just think that's so interesting. Because it's how long have they been here now?
Ooh, now you're asking.
Weeks? Claire's been missing a week, they said in this episode. So it's,
I think it's been a month.
Month, I think. 3-4 weeks.
That might be completely incorrect.
I think it's about 4 weeks. I'm trying to count up when they say when they mention. Anyway, point is it's not been long, and it's Michael. I guess there's this feeling that they're all having of no one's coming to rescue them.
Yes,
and for most of them, I think that's just a feeling of a sort of hopelessness. Or for some of them, John, it's this is my new life. But for Michael, he's not worried at all about him being there forever. His immediate thought is, this can't be my son's life.
Yeah. Because it's also much more impactful for a younger person, isn't it? Because if you've only been alive for 10 years...
And then you spend a month on an island, I guess that's a much bigger...
Yeah, part of your childhood. Yeah, no, it is really interesting.
And
that scene is great because Son comes in to comfort him,
Son engages with Michael, which I think is really nice.
Yes.
And it's not about, don't tell anyone I can speak English. It's, are you okay? And I think that's really lovely.
Yeah. Michael forgets about Susan. Fuck Susan. Son forgets about Jin. Fuck Jin. They get married and they raise Walt together.
And they have Vincent and their garden.
And the garden, and it's all happy and lovely.
And everything's nice.
The end.
Yes, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have had quite isolated lives, I think, coming up to the island. And so in each other, they've just kind of found a bit of a, like, you know, relief, which is nice.
I have a note of Vincent speaks Spanish. I wrote that down.
I forgot about Vincent speaks Spanish!
I swear we brought it up on the podcast before.
I think we might have done. If this is, we were like, the comic books in Spanish, who does it belong to?
Yeah, who speaks Spanish on the island? And we were like, Vincent.
But
there's literally a bit where Walt's reading it, and Vincent is like reading it over his shoulder, and I'm like, Vincent speaks Spanish!
Vincent can speak Spanish. I wasn't crazy.
This is the conspiracy theory with the most evidence in the show.
Most supporting evidence. Vincent can speak Spanish.
Yeah. Low-key, Boone has, like, become John's bodyguard in this episode.
Should we talk about when Boone attacks Michael?
What the fuck? I completely forgot about that scene. What the hell was that?
Boone, punching above your weight, for starters. He's like twice your size. You have the structural integrity of a green bean. You can't be attacking people.
Literally. Why does he just jump him out of nowhere?
Also, Michael's not that angry.
No!
It's so funny because Michael is like not. Michael was really angry, and then John's like, stop waving the knife around, and then he like takes it down a notch, and then Boone jumps him.
Boone, what is Boone on?
I mean, he's been through a lot.
He has been through it.
He's concussed, you gotta remember. But the other interesting thing from Boone this episode, though, is that conversation with Shannon. Which is actually, like, we talked about, like, oh, he feels relieved that he can, like, let go of his, like, emotions around her, and then you were saying, like, John's point is she doesn't need to be dead for that to happen. And what it seems to have been is that he's just gone, you're so right. And then has just, like,
but like, I feel like he's taken it to an extreme, do you know what I mean?
It's kind of become, I don't care about her at all anymore, which is also not the vibe.
No.
But yeah.
But it is kind of unsurprising that he's taken it to an extreme, given that he had such extreme feelings towards her beforehand.
Yeah.
That in order to sort of go cold turkey from her, as it were, he
Yeah.
has to completely cut her out of his life.
Be quite mean to her. But I thought it was really interesting the way, like, Shannon, you can see her try and, like, play with his feelings to get him to, like, stay with her. And he's just like, no.
Yeah, her manipulation doesn't work anymore on him.
Yeah. Which was quite interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, kind of cool that Shannon is like, I'm gonna help Michael out with the raft. I mean, do you think she means that, or do you think she's just trying to say that to get Boone to do all the work?
I'm not sure. Because I think, like, she talks about she's a part of the conversation about the raft, but she seems quite pessimistic. But maybe she does want to help, I don't know. I guess we'll see once they start building the boat.
Exactly.
We'll see if she gets involved.
The raft is quite an exciting idea that's introduced in this episode.
I love that. I love the way Michael goes about that. Because he comes in and he's like, it's like often in this show, when people are like upset about what's going on, they're like, you guys are going about this wrong. But what he does actually is be like, I'm doing this wrong. Like when he says like, building water filtration systems and showers, what we're talking about. That was his idea.
That was his idea, yeah.
And I think that's so great, because like he was the one who drew out all the plans for that, and then he just went, hang on, what am I doing? I should be using my engineering knowledge to build us a boat.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so, like, it's just so
genius,
great.
Absolutely. And I
like,
kind
why
of
has no
love...
one thought of that?
I love the way that scene is set up. It's almost like they're in like a boardroom meeting, you know, with like the Chinese takeaway like containers out on the table, and they're like, what do we do? And he like storms in through the door and slams his papers down on the table, you know.
It's like, we build a boat.
Yeah.
I just think it's so cool.
Absolutely. Although every time we've said raft so far, I can't help but think about the bloopers.
There's two great bloopers for this.
There's
episode.
loads, actually.
Michael, actually, Harold Perrineau is so funny.
Yeah.
The blooper reel
He's
this
hilarious.
season is like half him.
Yeah, half scenes from this episode.
Yeah.
It's all like
so funny.
his centric bits, I guess. But yeah, there's, I think it must be Saeed, right?
Says like, why would we build a raft?
Yeah, and he goes, first of all, it's not a raft, it's a raft.
It's not a raft. It's a raft.
Oh obviously.
And secondly.
And, I mean, in case anyone out there is unfamiliar with English accents, should point out that obviously, like, sort of RP, like, the standard English accent is like a Southern English accent, which is where people say raft and bath and use that kind of vowel sound. But we're from the north of England, which is where we say raft.
So we do say raft.
But we don't say raft like the Americans. Raft.
Yeah, which is how Charlie's northern.
Charlie's also northern. He's from Manchester.
Manchester!
Which is where we live now. Yeah.
So he would say raft, but
Saeed,
raft, I think, is a Saeed. Because Naveen Andrews is from London.
Well, yes. But he's a Cockney, when
I tell you, hearing Naveen Andrews speak for the first time, out of character, your spirit will leave your body for a second and then come back in. It's the most insane. I remember we watched like a behind the scenes and he starts talking before it cuts to him and I was like, who the fuck is this? And then it got to him and he's talking. His voice is like higher pitched.
Yeah, way higher pitched.
And he's like a Cockney.
It's like, alright!
It's so weird.
What do you mean we go and build a raft? That's my terrible Cockney accent for you.
And Ariel was born in South London.
I was actually. I'm a Cockney by birth, but I moved out of London before I was
even started speaking.
Yeah, one. So I do not have the accent, surprisingly. But yes, Cockney
it's
by
such
birth.
a whiplash.
It's crazy. It's great though.
So funny. So that's where like raft.
I think
comes from.
I guess canonically, like, Saeed, like, English is his second language, so maybe he, like, learnt it with a kind of Southern English accent.
He's learnt, like, an RP English, I guess.
Yeah, the Queen's English.
Although,
is
it the King's English now?
I guess it must be.
That's weird.
That's weird.
When did the Queen's English when he learnt it?
That's so weird.
I didn't think about that.
No, I've never thought about that. Because the Queen's English is just, like, a phrase.
That's just the thing people say.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because she was the Queen for, like, 60 years.
Yeah. Huh.
Weird. Anyway.
Can we just quickly rattle through some of the other bloopers?
Yeah, okay.
There's you've got to watch the compilation. Although it might spoil bits from later on in series 1.
It will, yeah, but it you know.
There's the bit where he's on the phone. He goes, "I'm coming to get my son back." Hangs up, picks it up, and goes, "And you're terrible in bed."
And you're terrible in bed, and then hangs it up again, and you can hear the cameraman start laughing.
And there's also the bit right at the beginning of the episode as well. Yeah. I didn't even realise. So we get another eye-opening shot as well.
Yes. Something actually I wrote down is his eyes already open.
His eyes already open. I noticed that too.
I think that's really cool that they cut to it, but his eye is already open. It's not him like waking up because he's already looking for Walt. I just thought that was really, really fun, like slight sort of shift in the motif. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. But for some reason, just him, I guess it's because it's him and Don Monaghan, and they're the two jokers on set, that just him going, like, shouting for Walt, and then going, like, have you seen him? And Charlie going, have you seen Claire's bags? For some reason, it took them ages to do that take, and there's loads of bloopers of them just, like, laughing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But for no particular reason, it seems.
I think they obviously they started laughing at something.
Yeah.
And that scene's quite funny, actually, in reality.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's the way they're both talking about their own thing, and then they both go like, huh? Oh, Claire's things? No, I don't know. Where's Walt? Huh? Walt? What are you talking about?
But that's kind of nice that they both actually do, like,
they both actually answer
try and help each other out.
Yeah. No, it is sweet.
Oh, but the bit where he goes, you listened to your old man when you were 10... It's like, Michael, don't ask Jack about his relationship with his father,
I was like,
okay?
you know what was happening to Jack when he was 10? That fucking conversation in the study.
Right.
Where Christian's going, oh, I had a little boy your age who died on my table today, and you don't have what it takes to be a hero. Jack shouldn't have been listening to his dad when he was 10.
It's like we've already had an hour to try and unpack this relationship, and we failed. 2 hours, in fact, because we have 2 Jack flashback episodes.
Poor Jack. Don't talk to Jack about his dad.
No.
Like, no. And at least Jack's like, yeah, probably too much.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point.
At this point, he's had some time to process.
And even regardless of the dad issues. His dad did just die also.
Can we pause? Because I need to go and get more water. Okay. Look at who I've become. I'm drinking so much water today.
I mean, that's crazy.
I know. I've had 4 glasses today.
Wild.
I know. I never do. I know that's not an abnormal amount of water, but it's a lot for me. I need to.
We'll be back in a minute. And we're back.
Hello. Sufficiently hydrated.
So yeah, you just have to not ask Jack about his dad. Hey, by the way, Claire's still missing.
I know!
Which is quite nice.
Yeah,
because by this point it's a bit like Hearts and Minds. There's not even a single mention of Claire.
This is the thing. I got really annoyed when we first watched this because it felt like Claire was missing for ages and nobody gave a shit. However, you get a little bit distracted as a viewer by whatever the fuck those two have going on. So you also kind of forget a little bit about Claire because you're like, pause, let's talk about this now. But yes, in this we get that Claire's been missing for a week, which is crazy, you know? Yeah. I mean, okay, maybe it isn't sustainable or viable to go out looking for her every day, but a week.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what has happened to her. Have some people just given up, just thought that she's dead, or she's just been taken by Ethan and that's it?
Also, why are they not, I know not everyone knows what's gone on, but also why is everyone not so terrified?
Oh my god.
Because learning,
I would be shitting my pants.
Learning that there's someone
maybe that's why I only had diarrhea. He's like, I'm gonna get kidnapped. He wasn't on the plane.
Learning that there's someone among them who wasn't on the plane. I would have been interrogating everyone. You know, I would have been trying to get everyone's cover stories and being what's your, trying to figure out who I can trust. I wouldn't have been sleeping. But
so paranoid.
Everyone's oh yeah, Claire's missing, we gotta get her back. And I'm yes. But also, Ethan, what if Ethan just comes back and take someone else? Do they have guards set up at the caves at night?
But how would you even defend against that? Are people sleeping in shifts, or are people just I mean, Charlie says they only wanted Claire. Do people go, oh well, I'm fine then?
Oh, they wanted Claire, don't have to worry.
How does anyone know anything? No one knows anything about Ethan, this is the thing. Terrifying.
And poor Charlie, oh my god. I always thought, to be fair, I was always Charlie's thing gets skipped over quite a lot. It actually doesn't, as much as I remember it being. Because I didn't remember this stuff. And, in Hearts and Minds, Jack has a bit of a check-in with him. So actually, they are a bit are you alright?
Yeah.
A bit more than I remember.
And you get a really nice line from Charlie, actually, where he's we barely know each other, but I, really feel part of me is what does he say? Crumbling
part
away.
Part of me's crumbling because she's gone.
Yeah. It's as we know, I have mixed feelings about Claire and Charlie's relationship or friendship or whatever we're going to call it. But this episode, I get a bit more on board with them because I'm he has developed quite intense feelings for her.
Yeah.
And we also find out, obviously he reads her diary, which... debatable action.
But also he says when they're you're reading Claire's diary, he's I know, I'm a scumbag, but listen.
Yeah.
So it is
but
a bit
we do find out from her diary that she
has been dreaming about this black...
No. Well, that bit is that's the cool bit. But the bit where she sort of says, I really like Charlie, safe. He makes me feel safe, he's really cute.
Yeah.
And it's
as we were saying, we had a bit of a debate about their relationship, didn't we, a few episodes ago, where you were saying, yeah, but she might think it's really creepy that he's obsessed with her.
Yes.
And I was that's valid. But as we can see, she doesn't. Actually, she feels very safe around him. And she feels
So I'm okay, these are 2 huge W's for Charlie and Claire this episode.
Actually, it's very sweet. And
basically what it is Charlie's a lesbian.
Exactly.
And he's
trying to U-Haul.
Yeah! He's immediately fallen in love with her.
I have a note written down here where Kate and Charlie together, Claire's 2 girlfriends.
Yes, absolutely. They're all lesbians.
I was Kate and Charlie are such a weird duo. Yeah. But it's not actually, because Kate and Jack and Charlie are together at the beginning.
Yeah.
But also it's that actually, 2 girlfriends aside, Kate and Charlie are the 2 people Claire is closest to on the island, because Kate's the one who was stayed with her when she was all dehydrated, and they have the hairbrush and the Gemini bonding.
Remember that bonding experience, guys.
Remember the hat. And so, like, actually they're the ones who can talk about Claire a little bit more, because it's like they were her closest friends, and so they're probably more impacted by the fact that she's gone.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's a really sweet scene where Kate's just like, it's really nice that you're keeping her stuff safe for her for when she gets back. And it's like, no one has said that yet. It's all been like, maybe we have to entertain the possibility that she's gone forever. But Kate's just like, she's going to come back.
Yeah. And hey, maybe, you know how we were like, Kate just goes off on one. She doesn't need anyone to tell her. She'd just go out into the forest and pick fruits and seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe part of that is looking for Claire as well. Maybe she's looking for Claire,
because she's a tracker. Maybe she's looking for more signs they might have missed.
I think so, because obviously Kate cares about Claire and wants her to get back safely, and even if Jack's given up the trail, that's not going to stop her from going out.
Yeah, as we've established, she doesn't need anyone's permission to do what she thinks, what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think she probably is going out and looking for her. Not like Boone, who's lying about that.
Yeah.
Who's saying they're looking for Claire when they're not. They're focusing on the hatch.
All Boone seems to be doing this episode is standing with his arms folded in his card t-shirt and attacking people. He's gone massively broody this week.
He goes really rogue in this episode. He just does loads of things that I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Does a lot of putting the bag on his shoulder as well. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
Keeps happening. The entire cave sequence, he keeps taking the bag off and then putting it back on again. And I'm sure there's other stuff he's doing. Like, I'm sure they did, like, longer shots where it's, like, during that conversation with Shannon, it's, like, he takes the bag off, he gets something out of it, he, like, fills the water bottle or whatever and puts it back on. But because it's all close-ups, what it appears to be is just the strap just keeps coming in and out of shot. And then, like, when he's, it's, like, Walt comes to talk to John, and then Michael gets mad, and then it's, like, a shot of Boone where he's like, come on, we're leaving. He's putting the bag on again. And I was like, leave that bag alone. Mm-hmm. Ian, you've got one prop.
And he's milking it.
Work with it.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at my notes. Susan is such a bitch.
I've just got I hate Susan written down here. Okay, if we're talking about Charlie wins, actually, can we talk about Charlie punching Sawyer in the arm? Because that's hilarious. I think not enough people, like, tried to sort of put Sawyer in his place a little bit. Because Sawyer's being awful in that scene.
Yeah.
First of all, why does he have the diary?
Yeah.
Can I just say?
Yeah, that's not really addressed, is it?
Because Kate, that's, like, played as a jokey thing, but I'm also like, why does he have it? Because Kate says she brought Claire's bags to the beach. Presumably because her bags were, like, left, weren't they?
In the middle of the jungle.
In the middle of the jungle when they got taken, and then Claire wanted to move to the beach, so Kate's gone, put her bags on the beach. At what point did Sawyer, presumably, look through Claire's bags.
Yeah.
And try and take stuff.
Decide what was valuable.
Find nothing in there he wanted to take apart from her diary. And then just keep it by his chair.
Who the fuck knows?
And then, like, Kate's like, oh, you didn't really read it, did you? And it's like, well, he says no, but also, like, I'm not sure I believe him.
I do believe him, but I don't think that excuses him being a little bitch.
Of course not. And, like, he's been so horrible to Charlie.
For no reason, though. He's just winding him up.
Yeah.
He's just...
And it's like, have a bit of perspective. Yeah. This guy nearly died trying to save Claire. And now you're saying, she hates you, she thought you were really creepy.
So, yes, he does deserve to get punched in his open wound.
Deserves to be punched in his stab wound, to be quite frank. And I like that, like, he does it, and then Sawyer drops the diary, and, like, Charlie picks up the diary, and then Sawyer just punches him in the face.
Oh, bless him.
It's just like, yep.
Why do they think that punching each other is the way to solve everything?
Men. I know, they do love to hit each other.
They do.
It's not just the men. Kate loves a headbutt. Because it's like
Brutal.
Charlie obviously knows he's got nothing on Sawyer. Because he's like he's like 6 inches shorter than him.
He's a hobbit.
And he's got nothing going on. And so he's like hit him in the injury.
Yeah.
This is a man who's no stranger to a fight.
Well, he probably grew up fighting with Liam.
I was going to say
time.
Maybe it's a younger brother thing. Maybe he's like, he knows how to fight someone bigger than him.
Yeah.
Because Liam obviously,
I love how, like, in the past 2 episodes, we've decided on loads of, like, familial dynamics between all the characters. Now we've got, like, big brother, little brother for Charlie and Sawyer.
A brother thing going on, they've got a father thing going on. Like, this is my girlfriend, and this is her boyfriend, and this is his girlfriend, this is his boyfriend, and his boyfriend. The epitome of that, I would say. Honestly.
Okay, Polycule, listen up.
Yeah,
but that's
literally.
me addressing
That's Michael coming in with the raft idea.
Yes! Oh my god! Yes!
Okay, Polycule, listen up.
The best. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the other great thing we find out from Claire's diary, the Black Rock.
I mean, this is crazy. This is so cool.
So this is like, we saw one of Claire's dreams.
Yeah.
And it was very scary. But, like, maybe it's like these dreams have significance to them, you know? Maybe it's the magic of the island.
Yeah.
And it's getting in. Or maybe it's like, you know, she said Ethan was injecting her with stuff. Maybe it's like giving her these weird dreams.
Yeah, maybe it's like some kind of
a magic thing. Yeah.
We went
to
different contrasting things there. But yeah, clearly he was giving her some kind of drug to make her easier to kidnap, right?
I would say probably.
So, like, hallucinations or whatever.
Or, like, it's definitely something to do with the baby. Probably.
Somehow, she has dreamt of a place on the island
that she didn't know existed.
Yeah.
But that does exist because Rousseau has put it on her map.
Yeah. Maybe it's the sickness.
Oh my god.
If Rousseau is, like, sick, let's say that she is, because I was like, maybe she's just going mad like Rousseau. If Rousseau has, like, the sickness or something, that's got something to do with the Black Rock, or it makes you see the Black Rock.
Maybe it's like a baby thing, because Rousseau was pregnant.
Yeah, but
she gave birth on the island.
She made the maps way after.
Yeah, but maybe she was having dreams about the Black Rock when she was pregnant, and then she went to the Black Rock, and then she drew it on the map.
Maybe. Or maybe that we don't know if the Black Rock is real. It could be like a manifestation of the sickness in the brain. It looks like a Black Rock.
Maybe what Rousseau was doing was trying to find the location of the Black Rock.
Yeah, figure it out.
And it's not real, or it is real and she hasn't found it yet, or she's been having these visions of it.
But maybe that means Claire is sick.
Maybe that's what the injections were. Maybe they were trying to make her not sick or make her sick. Maybe they were infecting her.
Because we don't know if Ethan's a good or bad entity at this point.
Well, he's quite bad.
No, but from the perspective of the survivors, sure.
Yeah.
But he might be like a benevolent island man. He might
think he's trying to help her in the same way that John's trying to help Boone by making him hallucinate his sister dying. Like maybe he's like, I'm saving her. Or maybe he's like, I want her to go crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, the Black Rock. And the way that they're sort of piecing these puzzle pieces together is so exciting. Like Saeed and Charlie, and then Jack's just like, maybe. And I'm like, Jack, come on.
I know.
Indulge us a little bit here.
It's like a spinning shot, just like when they have the radio, and they're spinning around, and it's like Charlie and Saeed and Shannon, and obviously Jack's not there for that bit, but like, it's like the same, and it's about Rousseau, and it's like they're piecing it together. I was like, that's a really fun callback, because it's like the spinning again, but this time they're in a really enclosed space rather than being out on the big plane. I thought that was like, and it's really dark, fun as a parallel.
Yeah.
I would say if I was the kind of Tumblr user who makes GIFs, I think I'd GIF that.
Nice. Yeah.
But
then we kind of get so John and Boone are out looking for Vincent, aren't they? And they're blowing the dog whistle.
Yes.
Do you think Claire hears the dog whistle on some frequency? Does the sickness make your ears more attuned?
Turns you into a dog who speaks Spanish. Maybe Vincent is Claire.
Vincent is Claire.
She's like a werewolf, but she just turns into a dog.
A Spanish dog.
A Spanish male dog.
Hey, they're both blonde.
Exactly. They're exactly the same.
But yeah, so we find Claire. Claire is back.
So
Come
Claire
on,
is
baby.
back. I think more so what happened is she didn't hear the whistle. She probably heard them talking.
Yeah.
Because they were yelling, like, for Vincent as well. And yelling, they were talking. They were saying, like, the whistle's broken or whatever. I think maybe that's what she heard. And so she was going towards their voices. Because obviously she's trying to get back to them.
It's a little convenient that Claire was the one who made a diary and she's the one who gets kidnapped. But then I was like, It is in character for her, though, because she's, like, an astrology girly. Of course she's gonna journal.
Yeah, of course she's a journaler. I bet she believes in the power of manifesting, you know?
Absolutely. She's like, I lost my glittery pink gel pen, so we're having to deal with...
shambles.
Yeah. A regular pen for the journal. I mean, it's embarrassing, really. But...
And also, like, Claire, you know, she's not got a whole lot going on, like, pre-kidnapping. You know, she can't do any of the, like, missions with people.
She's not very mobile, no.
She's not very mobile. So if you're, like, sitting around all day on this beach, you might be like, I'll write a diary. Something to do, you know? Yeah. Keep track of things.
I would.
Yeah.
If I had the means, I definitely would be documenting the journey.
Also, yeah, because also document it, because then, like, when you get rescued, if you get rescued, you can be
Turn it into a book, make some money.
Publish it. My experience 9 months pregnant on a tropical island.
Maybe a bit of a snappier title than that, but yes.
That's the subtitle.
Oh, okay.
First, the head title was called Lost, I don't know. That's what this show is, actually. Claire got off the island and she used her diary to make a TV show.
Yes. Studio execs at ABC, they had quite a lot of creative liberty over the story, you know. She's barely in it half the time.
They did. They forgot about her a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, Claire coming back is so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for next episode. Got to see what, you know.
Yeah.
What happens next.
I mean, have we covered everything?
Surely not.
Surely
what
not.
Else? Oh, I've written about him making stuff the villain save what, but also nicking the dog, I think is iconic behaviour from him.
Oh, so funny.
Because it's like just a little bit of a bitch moment. It's just a bit of a like, and fuck Brian, I'm taking your dog.
Yeah. It's so, like, it really got me this time around. I never really noticed it beforehand, but, like, because everything he's saying is everything he wanted his relationship with Walt to be.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was very much against his will that Walt was taken out of his life. But, you know, he's like, just because, you know, he's not there doesn't mean he's going to write you, he's going to see you every time
he's going to come visit, he's going to call you. And it's like, that's what
we've
literally seen Michael do those things.
Yes.
Or try to do those things.
Yeah, but fucking Susan wouldn't even show him the letters.
And it's like, we know Brian doesn't want to do those things.
And yeah, that's not Brian at all. I literally wrote down Brian is a deadbeat loser. Like... But he's, like, defending him or trying to, like...
He's trying to make sure Walt isn't mad at him, and it's just so... But then just being like, and we're going to keep the dog.
Yeah.
I just think it's great.
The scene between Brian and Michael is, like... It's always really stuck out to me in my memory because the camera is so shaky.
Can I tell you what I have written down
I
here?
really remember... out of everything from this episode, how shaky that camera is.
I have some notes here that say, I've got one bird written, that was the bird flashback, and then as soon as we got to that scene, I have written down, Ariel's gonna talk about the shaky camera in this scene. I was waiting. I knew you were gonna do it. I thought we'd finish talking about the flashbacks, and I was like, wow, you didn't bring it up. I was like, no, I know it's gonna come up.
No, because in my mind, when we finished talking about the flashbacks, I was like, we need to circle back, because I need to talk about the shaky camera.
The camera's pretty shaky.
It's bafflingly shaky. Like, what were they doing? Like, I don't understand. Is it a cinematic choice? Is it just that they only had one camera operator on that day and it was an accident? Like...
I think it's, well, at least partly a cinematic choice, because it's, like, a very intense scene. There's a lot of movement in the scene.
Yeah.
Between them, like, it cuts between a lot of different angles of the... like, Michael's, like, apartment, and there's, like, a bit, like, an up against a wall moment and all that. So I do think it's partly intentional.
But it really takes me out of it. It doesn't add anything to the... Do you know what I mean? Like, occasionally when we've had shaky camera work in the past, it's been, like... So I'm thinking about when they're all arguing with each other, and then, like, John throws the knife, and then it's a really slow zoom on him. You know, in, like, episode 4 or whatever. Yeah. And it's like... Out. That's effective. This one, it completely, all I can focus on is the shakiness. Like, I can't, it really takes away from the dialogue and the dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah.
It really annoys me. It just annoys me. And it's like, okay, I can't really talk. I know nothing about televisography. I couldn't lift a camera. Look at me. Look at my skinny little arms. I couldn't lift a camera. And no, I'm not a director of photography. But I have a podcast, so I can express my opinion on air. I am using this platform.
Did you propose that we do this just so you could talk about
just so I could talk about the shaky camera? It's enraging.
I think actually the kind of latter half of this episode, I guess last third, I would go for.
Sure.
It's kind of interesting because the sequence of flashbacks actually comes really fast.
Yeah, that's very true.
I remember we were watching it and we got to the bit where Michael throws the comic book in the fire and I was like, we've not even had Susan, we've not even had Walt's flashback yet, or Susan dying or any of that. And it's all that happens on island in between the Walt flashback with the bird and the Brian flashback with Michael and the shaky camera and the scene where Michael goes to see Walt. All that happens in between that is Walt running around in the woods and Vincent disappears.
And the polar bear attack.
And then the polar bear starts attacking and then it's the scene with Michael and Walt.
That bit's
and then it goes
crazy,
back to the polar bear attacking.
I think the contrast between those is quite cool though.
It is really great because it's when Walt's crying and being like, Dad, please help me, and then it goes to him being like, who are you?
Yeah.
That's quite crazy.
I mean, Walt, the guy who plays Walt, what's his name? Malcolm David Kelly. He's a really good actor.
He's brilliant.
Especially, being a child actor, obviously,
A lot of kid actors are not brilliant.
Yeah, but I think he's really good, and, I think his, line where he says, I'm not going anywhere with you is really powerful.
Yeah.
And it's he's asserting himself, despite the fact that he's 10 years old and he's just been through this, awful trauma and grief of his mum dying. And his dad abandoning him, you know? That bit as well where Michael's you left him after he just lost his mum. That just really shows you the difference between their two characters, right? Because Michael would never dream of doing that.
It's the way clearly Brian did that without even a second thought.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's fine, Walt's at home with the nanny. And Michael's like, how could you do that?
Yeah.
How could you leave him alone?
Because Brian's only thinking about himself, isn't he? He's
so Brian's like, I've been through something too.
Well, nothing against her.
Big love to the nanny for giving Michael the cards as well.
Yes.
Because, Susan kept them. I like to think the nanny's like, yeah, fuck Brian.
She's, eavesdropping on all their conversations, I'm staying out of it, but I'm taking the other guy's side.
I think the other guy's in the right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's great. It's just the fact that
she has a nanny.
That they have a nanny is awful. But yeah, the fact that she gives him the box is really special.
Lovely.
And the fact that they get to then have that moment on the island.
Yeah.
So they've been through this really stressful, and it's a very intense scene.
And it's just, we saw it last episode, Michael got the box out.
And that whole, Michael and John walking across the tree branch, it's all very, we think any of them could die at any moment, you know?
Yeah, that, dropping the knife down, I was like, oh my, not even that, but throwing the knife? That's, crazy. It's the way, Michael's, give me the knife, and John's kind of okay, and kind of throws it. And he catches
throwing of the knife, yeah, that's mad.
And then, dropping it down and being but it's the fact that Michael trusts Walt to have the knife.
Yes.
Is so significant.
Really important.
Because he's you need to defend yourself, and I know you know how to use the knife, because John's taught you.
Because what is happening in that moment as well is Michael is putting his feelings towards John aside so that they can work together to save Walt.
Yeah. And it's that lovely of being it's the same with Charlie and Kate being the two people who care the most about Claire. It's John and Michael are the ones who care the most about Walt.
Yes.
And who want to save him.
Because their dynamic's really interesting as well, because you can completely see it from Michael's perspective, where he's stay away from my son.
From Michael's perspective, it's so creepy.
Yeah.
And also John kind of acknowledges that.
Agrees.
John really respects when Michael says, I don't want you talking to him anymore. John's we can't talk to each other anymore. That's okay.
But it's the fact that Walt really likes being friends with him and wants to continue to be friends with him.
It's really sad. But then they have that lovely, when they're, Walt is hugging Michael, and they have a bit of, a nod of being it's okay. I just think that's really nice.
Yeah, so that's really nice how their sort of feud is put aside. to help Walt. And so we have this crazy scene, and then once it's all died down and they're back in the caves, we really feel like Michael and Walt are closer than before. And then that's when he shows him all the cards.
He's like, look, I tried.
Yeah, and Walt, you can really see his thought process where, because obviously he kind of resents Michael just because he's like, who are you? My mum's just died and you've just come in. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know who Michael is. He's got this idea that Michael is forcing him to be away from Brian. He's forcing him to move to America and away from Australia where he, like, you know, lives. So we don't know how many years, but, like, not very long, I don't think, because she did say she was new to Australian law, but, you know, that's not the point. And, like, on Island, they've had so many arguments. Like, Walt very understandably doesn't like Michael very much. And you can really see the shift in his, like, when he's just like, oh, you wrote letters to me?
Yeah, it's like, why didn't I see any of these? I think he says that, right?
Yeah.
Or like, why wouldn't Mum show me these or something? And it's like, yeah.
He's suddenly like, oh, he does care about me.
And obviously that's a really tough thing for a child to deal with, because that's a very grown-up dynamic. Do you know what I mean? Of like, this is, the adults have their own politics going on.
To try and understand why his mum wouldn't want him to talk to his dad is a very, adult thing to have to think about. And for him, it's obviously just like, why would she not?
Yeah. But now it's just them two together on the island, and they have this really lovely moment where he can read all of the letters and stuff. I think that's really nice.
And I like that they kind of managed to connect over the art a little bit, because it's like he tries to, Michael, with the comic book.
Yeah.
When he says, like, when I was your age, I'd trace comic books to learn to draw, and then, like, Walt's not paying attention. But it's like, then he has the cards, and he's like, they kind of connect over the drawing a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah, because that scene is super... Because is that the one where he burns the comic book?
It's the one before that, I think.
Right, because it's like, you kind of feel so sorry for both of them in that scene, because like, he burns Walt's comic book, which is awful. Like, why would you do that, you know? And so you like, oh, Walt, you know.
Poor Walt.
But then like, Walt says something like, you're not my dad, you know, you were never in my life, or...
You can't tell me what to do, you're not my dad. Like...
Yeah. And then it's like... But poor Michael, it's all he wanted was to be Walt's dad.
It's awful, because it's like, both of them are feeling so rationally for their situation, you know? Yes. But they just can't carry on the way they are.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we get a nice conclusion to this episode.
It's a really nice, I think a lot of the time, the flashback kind of narrative is like, all these terrible things happen to this person. And so what? You know?
And now the horrors have continued.
It's a bit like, and now you know that. It's like at the end of the episode.
Yes.
It's a bit like, and now you, the viewer, know that John couldn't walk before.
Yes.
But it's like, actually, now us, the viewer, know about Susan and Brian, and we know that Walt has magic powers, but also, Walt and Michael have a really nice connection at the end, and, you know, also Michael and John kind of bridge their gap between them, and it's very nice as a conclusion within the episode as well.
Everyone's back together. Claire's back, you know.
We're all a happy family.
Yeah, apart from Vincent. Vincent's still lost.
Disappeared.
But, yeah, he'll come back.
He's off to speak Spanish.
He's having Spanish lessons.
He's gone to find the monster actually also speaks Spanish, and he's gone to chat with the monster.
Oh, well, Claire is a 3-part werewolf. This is the thing. By day, she is a human woman. By night, she is a male dog. And then, like, on the full moon, she turns into a dinosaur that rampages through the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's happened, you see.
It is. Something very cool, circling back to sort of Walt's magic powers, something very cool is what, in kind of opposite to he can't grow up here, John's thing of, as long as we're here, he should be able to realise his potential.
Yeah, I think I wrote that down too, the realising the potential thing is interesting.
Because it's like, Michael says, like, you know, if we were at home, I'd be calling the police on you.
Yeah.
Because, he's giving a 10-year-old a knife.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the way John's just like, but we're not at home, you know? We're on a magical island. And John clearly has this sort of channeling of the magic of the island, and he's got a bit of, like, channeling of the magic of Walt, however consciously that is, however that's just a feeling or whatever. But what he wants is to encourage more people to understand the, like, magic of the island.
Exactly. And that's what he's been doing with everyone, like Charlie.
And with Jack and with Boone.
Yeah.
But with what he wants with Walt is for him to like learn his hone his magic. Because do we think, here's a question. Okay. Do you think Walt is at all aware of his magic powers?
Ooh, good question.
Because Brian is aware, but I don't think Walt is.
From what we've seen, I'd say no. But, I mean, how many coincidences like that have to happen before you go, hang on a minute?
Yeah.
But then I guess, as a child, you kind of don't really have that perspective of yourself.
Yeah, also, like, when you're, like, 10, you're probably just like, I'm magic, you know?
Everyone can get their way if they think hard enough.
Yeah, or maybe, like, it's like, you know, Brian said he's just, like, the luckiest guy he knew. Maybe he just thinks he's really lucky.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, maybe Walt's journey, definitely from John's perspective, is to realise he has this gift and to kind of, like, explore it. And actually, I just said gift just then, it reminded me. I do think it's interesting that the title of this episode is Special, presumably meaning Walt is special, right? Because he has this magic power. But that word is not used at all during the episode.
No.
And no one goes, like, this is amazing. The only person who ever acknowledges that Walt is got this power is Brian, when he says he's, like, different, I believe is the word he uses.
He says he's different. And I always thought he must say he's special, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. Because he doesn't think it's special. He thinks it's terrifying.
Yeah.
You know?
But what, like, I guess that's what we're being told by the framework of the show, is Walt is special.
Yeah. Unless you think special could refer to anything else. We had the psychic say that Claire's baby was very special, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know if he used that exact word, but he was definitely like,
it's important.
Have to raise this baby, your goodness has to be an influence on his life. Something, we talked about like the whole island, everything revolving around Claire's unborn baby. And now we have another child who is special.
Children who are important, who are special. And actually, I remember when we first watched Raised by Another, I read the title and I remember Mum asking me, who do you think that's about? And I was like, Walt.
Yeah, Michael and Walt. I thought the same.
Because he was raised by someone else, not his dad.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of links drawn.
Yeah.
Between Walt and Claire's baby.
And of course Claire comes back in this episode.
Returned.
Maybe
Walt brought Claire back!
Yeah, we just thought the same thing!
Oh my god.
He's sending out his sonar signal and Claire's following it.
The baby can
hear him! The baby's like, go this way! Claire's like, whoa! The baby, when Claire is asleep, the baby takes over. She's not sleepwalking at all, that's the baby! The baby's navigating her back to the camp.
The baby can hear the dog whistle.
Yes!
I don't know if other babies can. They can. At that point, they can hear, can't they?
Doesn't matter. The baby's magic.
Baby's magic. Walt's so stupid, aren't we? Yeah, but actually, Walt bringing Claire back is probably a part of it.
Yeah.
Because he, like...
But he's not thinking about Claire, though, is he?
But I think maybe that's more of a passive, like, you know, they say Vincent found his way back to you. He will again. Maybe it's more of a, you don't bring him back.
But Vincent didn't find his way back. That's John.
I know, John brought him back. But John brought Claire back, arguably, because she heard him walk.
Yes.
Claire is Vincent. But, like, maybe what it is like, he's thinking about his mum and his dad and himself as a baby.
Family.
He's reading these cards that were written for him as a baby, and then Claire and her baby, who are very important, are kind of getting that energy.
Yeah.
And coming back.
I like the idea. I really like the idea that Walt helped her find her way back. I think that's really nice because it also shows that his power can be used for something good as well.
Yeah, it can do something really nice, not just something like violent.
Yeah. Linked to emotions, and that means he's feeling like
happy and, then it brings her
and
back.
Loved and feeling that sort of family love, you know. Aww. How sweet is that?
I think that's a really nice place to end it.
I think so too.
If you don't have anything else.
No, I don't
have anything
think
else
so.
to say. Oh, the only other thing I have written down is that they were playing golf. They had a golf tournament for the last of the deodorant. I thought that was quite a funny line.
That was a very funny line. I did enjoy
I
it.
like when they acknowledge those little things.
Yeah.
It's like, with the leaf toilet paper last episode.
Yeah, I can't believe last episode you didn't bring up, this is like the shaky camera. I wrote down, Velvet's definitely going to bring up the you can use your own toothbrush thing.
Yes, I
so
did think
remember
that.
you going wild for that line when we first watched it.
Because I was like, oh, they used each other's toothbrushes, and then I was like, wait, but yeah. But then I was like, we've not seen any of them brushing their teeth.
No. Oh, Sun makes her own toothpaste, doesn't she?
She does. That's true.
I'd be doing that. I wouldn't use someone else's toothbrush, even if I was in a plane crash. I'm
also,
sorry.
I feel kind of like, if I'm using like a dead person's toothbrush, that just feels really insane.
Yeah.
That's like way more intrusive than stealing their shoes.
A toothbrush that outlives you?
Oh my god.
What a horrible thought!
We've killed the vibe.
we had such a nice,
lovely, sweet vibe to end.
Oh, then we've just had the darkest realization ever. That when you die, when everyone dies, your toothbrush outlives you.
The toothbrush is still there. Someone has to throw your toothbrush away.
Oh my god, what a fucking horrible, bleak thing. Fucking hell. In this scenario, so you've crash landed on the beach. Obviously, no one's thinking about brushing their teeth on the first day. Come on.
How long do you think it takes before you brush your teeth?
How long does it take before you brush your teeth?
You
you don't have your own toothbrush.
Okay, so in this scenario, I'm in the plane crash.
Yeah.
My own bag is gone.
Yeah.
I don't have my toothbrush.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like sleeping and eating and like, healing whatever injuries I have or whatever. And then I would say probably 3-4 days in, I realise I haven't brushed my teeth since morning of the airport.
Yeah.
And I probably feel a bit gross. At that point, I think I would just start looking for my own bag.
Yeah.
But also, I use an electric toothbrush.
So that wouldn't be very helpful.
So it would die immediately.
Yes.
I've got maybe 5 days.
You'd have to
manually
use
an
electric.
I mean, I've done that before.
That's
because it's like, if it dies,
Yeah.
like mid-brush, I just manually brush the rest of my mouth. I would say, for me to use someone else's toothbrush, gotta be 2 weeks.
2 weeks, do you think?
I think if it gets to the 2 week mark and I've not brushed my teeth at all, at that point I'm going in someone else's bag and using the toothbrush. But also, if I could find like a bottle of mouthwash,
Oh, then you're golden.
then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Mouthwash and like floss maybe.
Yeah.
Because those things don't go in someone's mouth. So it's
Yeah.
like I could use those. So that would be my set. Like maybe after this like 4 or 5 days, I don't have my own bag. I'm looking for mouthwash and floss. Or maybe those like chewable toothbrush like things that people travel with sometimes. You might be able to find some of those.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be a solid 2 weeks without a toothbrush. Without any access to anything mouth health related.
Yeah.
For me to use someone else's toothbrush.
Yeah. I think, for me, I probably would notice quite early on in that, like, when I don't brush my teeth for, like, twice a day or whatever, if I forget, I get, like, I can feel it on my teeth, do you know what I mean? Like a nastiness.
Yeah, see, a lot of people say that all the time, but I'm like, I don't know.
Really? Oh no, I get like a sort of, there's like sorry, this is quite gross, isn't it? Sorry, listeners. But I feel like a sort of layer of gunk. No, not gunk. But I can tell that I haven't brushed my teeth, right? And it feels uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable. And so I would notice quite early on. But I don't think any length of time I could use someone else's toothbrush. I simply just don't think I could. Never.
Really?
Never. It's like the most gross thing imaginable to me. Like, I actually want to gag right now just thinking about it. I think what I would do, I would like rationalize it to myself to be like, well, it's going to be a while before I get any like long-term issues. Because I think you know, I would be like, well, they're going to come and rescue us in like a week. And, you know, if I've gone a month without brushing my teeth, I probably won't have a million fillings and decays and it won't be
that's
whole.
A good point. Also, if you're eating like fresh food, then your teeth won't decay. Then sugars and like artificial sugars.
It's not like I'm chugging Coke every 5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that is technically true, but that's how I would rationalize it to myself. I'd be like, I won't have any long-term implications for this. Also, you know, I might die the next day.
Just use the C.
Use the C.
But then how gross is the C? But I guess you spit it out again.
Yeah. I can't think about how gross everything is, otherwise I can't do anything. I'll just be there like having a panic attack on the beach, like everything is gross, everything is germy.
This is what I was going to say, is I feel like what I would have to do is just go, don't think about it. You know? Because it's like, if you think about how disgusting it is, I'd have to just be like, put the toothbrush paste on and just be like, don't think about it, and just do it and do it as quickly as I can and just be like, it's fine.
Oh god. Ugh. It's giving me like chills, like I can't. I'm fashioning myself a toothbrush out of leaves.
Moss
toothbrush. Ooh.
Here's a different question for you.
Okay.
How long would you go before, let's say, okay, so you're in the plane crash, you've lost all your bags.
Yeah.
How long are you going before you're seeking out clean underwear?
Oh,
from someone else's bag.
A good one.
Let's presume it's clean. So you find like someone else's luggage has clean pants in.
Oh, 2 days, 3 days. Quickly.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna argue, and then I was like, yeah, if it's clean.
Yeah. I'd abandon my bra straight away. I'm like, I'm on an island, I'm not...
I feel so weird without something on.
Hiking through the jungle, you might need a bit of support.
Yeah. I truly don't think I could ever get gross enough to abandon underwear. Like, if we say, by some insane stroke of bad luck, there are no pants in any of the luggage at all.
They do laundry, don't they?
They do. This is my thing. I would say I would take off my pants and like wash them.
Yeah.
But I would never just go without.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, but I would rather, would you rather, go without pants or use someone else's toothbrush? Go without pants.
Use someone else's toothbrush?
Oh, come on!
I don't know.
Really?
I really wouldn't want to go without pants.
What if you used someone else's pants as a toothbrush?
That's like a saw trap.
Just makes no sense whatsoever.
What part am I using?
I know, it doesn't make any sense. I guess if it was like a lacy, if it had lace on it, you could get a bit of traction.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. We've really lowered the tone.
What would it take for me to wear Kate's underwear? That bullshit thong thing. I'd rather go without than wear that. That's what I would say, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's probably very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She's wearing those and a bra.
I mean, what's she doing?
No wonder she's so angry. I'd be throwing rocks at people too.
Yeah. Headbutt central.
Anyway, that was a weird note to end it on.
Yeah, why don't you, listeners out there, if you've lasted this long, drop in the comments, would you rather use someone else's toothbrush or go without pants?
I feel it's important that the context is on Lost Island.
Yeah.
Not just in general.
Well, would you change your answer if it was just in general?
Yes.
You'd go without?
I'd go with... I think if it was like this morning, I'd woken up and you'd been standing over my bed and gone, today, you can either use my toothbrush to brush your teeth or you can wear no underwear all day.
You open your eyes and I'm looming over you holding my toothbrush.
I would say I'll go without pants. But if I'm on the Lost Island, it's going to be hot and sweaty. I might be hiking through the forest. And, like... the toothbrush thing is more normal.
I mean, just when you said that, I was like, it is a miracle that any of them are having romantic encounters on this island.
I know.
They must smell awful. Their breath must be disgusting. And you're gonna kiss a man when neither of you have brushed your teeth in 5 days?
I know. This is what I think about a lot. with Lost.
It is a miracle.
I'm like, how are you getting that close to each other?
Are flirty in any situation.
Can you imagine being Saeed? Just imagine for a second. And you're chained to a bed. And this woman who hasn't showered or brushed her teeth.
Presumably she's got a toothbrush. Come on. Your teeth would have fallen out after 16 years of not brushing them.
Well, okay, but she's not, like, she's been on the island for 16 years.
Yes.
I do not
She's
think
not
she
had,
smells
like, deodorant or shower
She's not had
gel.
deodorant or, like, shampoo.
Yeah.
For 16 years. And she's all
How
up in
does
your
her
face.
hair get so fluffy? Jack's lack of riz is amplified when he, like, leans over and just releases a pit smell.
Oh, no.
Terrible, right?
No, it's bad.
Anyway, so yeah, if you were on the Lost Island and you indefinitely had to abandon pants, that's how I'm phrasing it now.
Wait, is it no pants forever?
Yeah. Well, once you get off the island, you can wear pants again. But abandon pants or use someone else's toothbrush forever. What would you know?
Until getting off the island.
Until getting off the island. Let us know in the comments.
I'll do a poll. You
Yes!
can do polls on Spotify. I'll do a little poll.
Let's do a poll. Abandoned pants.
I'm going to write that down so I remember. Abandoned pants.
Write down abandoned pants.
Abandoned pants. Arrow. Poll.
Perfect. So yeah, please vote in the poll. Let us know your thoughts on this interesting hypothetical that we posed on the podcast today.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook.
Yeah, that's all of them, innit?
Yes.
Yeah. You can follow me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. That's at Ariel Hebditch. I'm going to be posting all kinds of skits and silly videos, and I'll also be like advertising when I have gigs and stuff. So if you want to come and see me live, then you can.
You can see some of my great camera work in there as well.
Oh yeah, not shaky.
Not shaky.
Come on. You can hire Velvet to be your next camera person if you
so desire.
Work at ABC.
And we will see you next week.
Yes, we
for
will.
episode 15, which is
Homecoming. You know I know the episode titles.
I normally know them, but I've forgotten this one.
Well, this one is like the title's a bit more vague, isn't it? Because a lot of the other ones, you go, oh, special. Oh, that's Michael episode. Yeah. You know, House of the Rising Sun, that's Sun's episode.
Yeah.
But Homecoming is like, I forget whose flashbacks it is. We were just discussing it before, weren't we?
Yeah, I think it's Charlie.
We think it's a Charlie one, but we don't know. So that's going to be exciting.
But presumably
for us
Homecoming refers to Claire coming back. So, yeah.
Exactly.
We will see you next week for episode 15, Homecoming.
We're going to find out all about what happened to Claire. Exciting!